Well, you talk about the need for true silence. How does one find that in this pell-mell cacophony world of social media and information 24/7?
Yes, that's a very great challenge for man today, that he is used to have noise. He has something in his ears, listening to something. But I think now many people, due to the corona crisis, many of them experience more solitude, more silence. And that can be very difficult, and they can feel it as something very hard, something very difficult. But I think it can also be a school of prayer to realize that when nothing is heard, there is a deeper voice speaking to us,
Right.
the voice of the Holy Spirit. So we have to learn to be silent again.
Right.
And I think now could be the right moment to experience silence as a gift and not as a threat.
Right. Well, you talk about prayer being as not an occupation, something that's totally unique and all-encompassing, but you also are concerned about the fact of people not doing morning prayer. Why do you think it's so important to start the day off in prayer?
Well, I think that if we start today in prayer, there is a great possibility and chance that we could continue to remain in prayer. If we start something in a good manner, it can develop well, but if we don't start, nothing will happen. So that's one of the most important advices, I think. If we start our day, our work, our meal, our conversation with a little prayer, it's easier to remain in the presence of God and receive his inspiration and impulses. But if we don't start, if we don't enter into prayer, well, nothing will come out of it.
Now you say, even when we work and our mind is totally absorbed in a very complicated task, we can abandon ourselves into God's hand. Our heart can be awake for God in the midst of our daily work. How do you go about trying to do that when you're involved with things? Do you have to remind yourself of that, or does it come naturally for you?
It depends, of course. Sometimes we are so tense, and I think when we feel tense and stressed, it's a sign that we have to make a minute or at least a second of silent prayer. Come, Holy Spirit, and give me your peace. But I think that we have on the human level a certain experience of that. If you really love someone, well, somehow that person is always present to us, even if we don't think of him or her in that moment. Because on the level of love, there is always a kind of communication deep down. And if we can learn to live in that continuous communication with God, he will be there, even if we don't think of him, even if we don't really have something to say. But we know he is there, he loves me, he looks upon me with his paternal eyes of concern and love. So if we can discover that deep level, it will be very helpful for our prayer life and also for the task we do.